10 insane plots to kill celebrities. Number 10. Mick Jagger. These days, pretty much everyone is aware of Altamont, a disastrous concert put on by the Rolling Stones in which the band had the infamous motorcycle gang, Hells Angels, provide security. The gang beat a young man, Meredith Hunter, to death during the course of the show, and after the fact, Mick Jagger swore never to associate with them again. Way to take a stand there, Mick. Very bold. Anyway, apparently the Hells Angels could not wrap their heads around why Mick should no longer want to employ their services. It's just one murder, for Pete's sake. And for them it became personal. So, in retaliation, the gang hatched an assassination plot in which they would travel by boat to Mick's home in the Hamptons, only to have their plan thwarted when a storm hit and threw the Hells Angels overboard. The lesson here is that motorcycle gangs should probably stick to dry land when attempting to carry out evil schemes. Number 9. Russell Crowe. Back in 2001, the terrorist group Al-Qaeda hatched a plan in which they would kidnap famous Americans in an effort to shake up the United States. One of those on the list was actor Russell Crowe, who, by the way, is not American. The group planned to snatch the actor just prior to the Oscars, at which he took home a Best Actor statue for his performance in Gladiator. While murder was never implicitly stated as a part of their planned attack on Crowe, considering the group's rather murdery track record, it's a pretty safe assumption that, had they been successful, his final screen appearance would have ended very, very badly for him. This led to the FBI tailing Crowe everywhere he went leading up to and during the ceremony. Honestly though, knowing Crowe's reputation, he'd have probably preferred brawling with any potential kidnappers on his own. Maybe he would throw a telephone at them for good measure. Number 8. Shawn Johnson. Shawn Johnson is a retired Olympic gold medalist in gymnastics and is also a former competitor on Dancing with the Stars. She has also been the target of a very creepy stalker who is now in jail after attempting to break into Dancing's studio to get close to her. A knife, a shotgun, some zip ties and a bulletproof vest were found in his car. We're going to go ahead and guess he wasn't planning on simply asking Johnson out for coffee. Robert O'Ryan was completely obsessed with Johnson and told authorities he firmly believed he and Johnson were soulmates and needed to be together. He plans on marrying her, he said, though the weapons in his car give both new meaning to the term shotgun wedding and make us think that it would have been a very short and violent honeymoon. Number 7. Jewel. While she has more or less fallen off the face of the earth at this point, there was a time when Jewel was immensely popular, both as a singer-songwriter and as an unintentionally hilarious poet. She was so popular that, apparently, God sent a man named Michael Kozelka to her ranch in Texas with a dog and a knife to find her, probably not to ask her to sign his copy of her book of poetry. Kozelka claimed that God led him to Jewel's 2,000-acre ranch, where he found his way to the main house looking for the singer. He was quickly detained with the aforementioned knife on his person, and is currently doing time for stalking. Number 6. Ryan Seacrest. You can say what you want about Ryan Seacrest. He's short, he's kind of annoying, he's absolutely freaking everywhere, and there's no reasonable explanation why. But none of that should make anyone want to kill the dude, unless of course your name is Chidia Zomar, an army reservist who was found with a knife at E's headquarters violently trying to get to Seacrest. Seacrest had already been made aware of Uzumar, who had been stalking him for some time, so fortunately he had personal security in place. However, that did not deter Uzumar from attempting to find the diminutive TV star and radio personality, and he had to be forcibly detained. He was later convicted to the maximum prison sentence for stalking. Good thing, because had he gotten to his target, Seacrest out would have taken on a whole new meaning. Number 5. Hilary Duff. While we can chuckle at the notion now, there was a time when Hilary Duff was actually world famous and ridiculously popular. So popular and enchanting was she that a Russian team named Maxim Myaskovsky became completely obsessed with her, to the point where he hatched a plan to murder both Duff and her boyfriend, Joel Madden. Mayakovsky believed that Madden was standing in the way of his being happy with Duff, though we're not sure how murdering her would have given him a chance with her either. Mayakovsky actually confessed to a private investigator that he was planning on murdering the teen star at a public event, which ultimately led to his arrest. Number 4. Michael Jackson. There are a lot of wild conspiracy theories about the death of Michael Jackson, ranging from his being assassinated by the CIA to his still being alive. However, strange murder plots that sound like they are straight out of a movie have never been foreign to the king of pop. After his death, the FBI released documents detailing the strange case of Frank Paul Jones, a man who stalked and threatened to kill Michael. Not only did he threaten to kill Jackson, he also threatened to kill George H.W. Bush. So obsessed was he with the idea of killing Michael that he actually wrote a letter threatening to commit mass murder at a Michael Jackson concert just to ensure the star was among the dead. So what was his deal? Naturally, he wanted money. Oh, and he was also completely insane. See, he also believed he was married to Janet Jackson. Not a bad fantasy, all things considered, but it still makes you bat crap insane if you actually believe it. Number 3. Miley Cyrus. So much could be said about Miley Cyrus. She's kind of hot, she's kind of dumb, she's easy to mock, her relationship with her dad is kind of creepy. The list really goes on. And apparently she's so wildly popular, she nearly inspired a teenage boy to commit an act of terrorism in 2008. That January, a 16-year-old boy hatched a plan that is almost too insane to be believed. His plot to kill Miley involved hijacking a plane and crashing it into an arena in which she was performing. He was apparently very serious about this idea, as authorities found the plane's flight plan, along with duct tape and rope, in his possession. Unfortunately for him, he failed to realize that the day of his planned hijacking was several days before the concert was set to be performed. Who would have thought that being totally deranged meant you were bad at reading a calendar too? Number 2. Justin Bieber. Okay, go on and get your Bieber hate out of the way. We'll wait. All set? Good. There's not a lot to like about Justin Bieber unless you're a teenage girl or apparently Usher or a Victoria's Secret model. Still, once you hear about the plot to kidnap and murder the teen pop star, you might feel at least a little bit of sympathy towards the Canuck, who looks way too much like Maggie Grace for our liking. Anyway, just a few months ago, it was revealed that a New Mexican prison inmate has an incredibly unhealthy obsession with the Biebs, including boasting a tattoo of the pop star on his leg. The inmate, Dana Martin, enlisted the help of his nephew in a plan to kidnap Bieber, with the scheme leading to castrating him before finally murdering him. The instrument of choice for the castration was to have been hedge trimmers, so just let that sink in and thank your lucky stars you're not popular enough to inspire psychopaths to want to cut off your franken beans. Number 1. Steve McQueen. So what could possibly top the Bieber story? How about being the number 1 target of one of the most notorious murderers in history, Charles Manson? It's no secret that the Manson family had a death list of people they wanted very badly to kill, and right at the top of the list was the king of cool himself, Steve McQueen. Sadly, the plot to murder McQueen led to the deaths of 5 other people, including actress Sharon Tate and Jay Sebring in 1969. McQueen was supposed to join his friends at the party they were murdered at, but to his good fortune, he decided to skip it instead. From then on, McQueen carried a gun at all times, which is pretty reasonable when a cult of psychopathic murderers wants you dead.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button in the top right. Our channel has loads of other awesome videos just like this.